This video is sponsored by Sakurako and Tokyo Treat. Dojutsus, we know and adore them. They've been a part of Naruto for as long as Naruto has been around. But Dojutsus have evolved as the show has evolved. What used to just be the Byakugan and the Sharingan is now the Rinnegan and the Rinne Sharingan and the Tenseigan. You see, it feels as ninjas have gotten stronger, so have their dojutsus. Ninjas have awakened dojutsus never seen before by the ninja world. And this is still the case in Boruto with things like the Jogan being awoken. But it feels as though sometimes we see these dojutsus once and then they disappear forever, which is a shame because I feel as though Naruto is so wrapped around the story of dojutsu. The Hyuga clan is considered the strongest clan in the league because of their Byakugan. The Uchihas were murdered for their Sharingans. The entire 4th Great Shinobi World War was built around trying to awaken a Rinne Sharingan. Nagato was pursued endlessly because of his Rinnegan. So why don't we get to see these dojutsus more? I mean, things like the Tenseigan, one of the coolest dojutsus out there, have only been seen once in a movie. And while that movie was canon, a lot of people are clamoring to see it again. Unfortunately for those people, that might just happen. But before I reveal how we're gonna see the Tenseigan again, guys, please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. And since I'm revealing all these things, how about I reveal the fact that I have 3 other YouTube pages? The Weeb Commander, where I talk all anime that isn't Naruto. NC Gamer 23, where instead of talking anime, I play video games. Or the Hammers Collection, where I unbox some of these absolutely gorgeous statues behind me. But before we get into all that, guys, today we gotta talk about our favorite reoccurring sponsor to the page, Sakurako and Tokyo Treat. Sakurako and Tokyo Treat are monthly Japanese snack subscription boxes that give you 2 different experiences of snacking in Japan. But since these 2 boxes are different, I should probably tell you how they're different. Tokyo Treat allows you to tap into how the modern Japanese household might snack, with Japanese exclusive and limited edition snacks. And every month comes with a theme. This month's theme is Spooktacular Snacking. So this month's theme allows you to tap into how you might be snacking after Halloween in Japan. And I know what you're saying, Nick, I can't read Japanese. All I know about these Kit Kats is that it says Halloween break. So how do I know if I'm allergic to anything in here or what the flavor is? Well, fortunately for you, both Sakurako and Tokyo Treat come with a 24-page pamphlet that tells you everything you need to know about these snacks. And from this pamphlet, we've learned that these Kit Kats are sweet potato flavored and lightly dusted with taro. But enough chatting about it, let's try it. Oh my. It's incredibly savory and sweet with a nice little fruity back end from the taro dusting. It's incredible. But if you're looking for something a bit more traditional, that's where Sakurako comes in. You see, Sakurako gives you a look into how a traditional Japanese household would snack. The whole box is stuffed with artisanal and traditional snacks and teas. And just like with Tokyo Treat, even though this snack may look intimidating, with our 24-page pamphlet, we'll know what it is. And just like with Tokyo Treat, every month is themed, and this month's theme is Ibaraki Harvest. Ibaraki being one of the major agricultural centers in Japan. And from the pamphlet, we've learned that these are Isa Suzami Manju, which is a donut-like dough filled with bean paste. Down the hatch. Oh my goodness. To say it's still moist and fresh is an understatement. This tastes like it was baked today. What's truly incredible at Sakurako is they don't stop at snacks. With every box from Sakurako, they also give you 1 piece of tableware. And this month's piece is a sauce dish that's beautifully ornamentally painted. So what are you guys waiting for? Use code NCHammer at checkout for $5 off your first order of Tokyo Treat or Sakurako. But if that's not good enough for you guys, Tokyo Treat is also doing a giveaway for up to $1,000 in prizes for Halloween. You could even win yourself a free Tokyo Treat box. All you gotta do is check the link in my pinned comment in my description. And while you're in my pinned comment or my description, make sure you use my Tokyo Treat or my Sakurako links to access their website, guys. Don't just go typing out Tokyo Treat or Sakurako into your search bar. So what are you guys waiting for? Let's get to snacking. So the Tenseigan, hailed as one of the strongest dojutsus in the Naruto universe, only ever seen used by 2 people, technically. Hamura Otsutsuki, Hagoromo's brother, and Toneri Otsutsuki, the last descendant of Hamura on the moon. But what is the Tenseigan? What abilities does it give you? How do you awaken it? And why is it coming back to the Naruto universe? Well, let's answer those questions in order. What is the Tenseigan? The Tenseigan is a dojutsu specific to the Otsutsuki. But what do I mean when I say it's specific to the Otsutsuki? Well, I mean that only Otsutsukis can ever awaken a Tenseigan. It's physically impossible for a human, aka a Hyuga, to evolve their Byakugan to that of a Tenseigan. Because the only way to awaken a Tenseigan that we understand currently is when an Otsutsuki implants themselves with the Byakugan of a Hyuga clan member. And we saw this in Naruto the Last when Toneri took Kanabe Hyuga's eyes and implanted them into himself, and thus awoken the Tenseigan. While the transformation isn't immediate, after a couple of days of punishing amounts of pain, Toneri awoke to the Tenseigan. But why did Toneri want the Tenseigan? Well, when Hamura ascended to the moon, he said that he would keep an eye over the earth that Hagoromo built. And as generations of people were born out of the Otsutsukis that were living on the moon, two separate factions were born. Essentially, there was one faction that said Hagoromo's earth had descended into madness and therefore needed to be destroyed, and the other faction said that the earth shouldn't be messed with and they should be allowed to make their own mistakes. However, as time went on, these two factions grew sicker and sicker of each other and eventually went to war, leaving only one person left: Toneri. And Toneri belonged to the faction that wanted to destroy the earth in order to reset the earth with a population of people that wouldn't war in the way that humans do. However, in order to destroy the earth, Toneri would need the power to destroy the earth. And that is what he was hoping to accomplish by awakening the Tenseigan. Now, since Toneri and all of the Otsutsuki on the moon were part of the branch family of the Otsutsuki, they had to give their Byakugan to a giant energy vessel when they were born. And multiple times, this energy vessel is referred to as the Tenseigan. Now, unfortunately, the lore contradicts itself a little bit here. See, there's a bit of confusion as to whether or not this is Hamura's Tenseigan kept alive with the eyes of all of the Otsutsukis, or if this was simply an energy vessel created by Hamura while he was still alive in order to make sure that the Otsutsukis would basically have limitless energy. Because the novelization of Naruto the Last states that it was made after Hamura's death, but the data book states that Hamura told everybody to make it. Inconsistency. But regardless if the energy vessel was actually Hamura's Tenseigan or if Hamura told everybody to make it so they would have power, Toneri's eyes went there. And because of this, when he abducted Hanabi Hyuga and he put her eyes in his eyes, it was the first time he truly ever saw. But by awakening to the Tenseigan, Toneri gained the ability to take the moon he was on and throw it into Earth, because that was his plan for eradicating the population of Earth. Just throwing a whole moon at it, which sounds like Sage of Six Paths mode Shirai Tensei, except instead of creating the moon, you're taking the moon and throwing it. However, this isn't the only ability conferred by the Tenseigan. Toneri in a fight against Naruto creates a giant Earth Golem that is the size of Naruto's Kurama cloak, which he uses to fight on par with Naruto. He also enters a thing called Tenseigan mode. Not only gives him access to True Seeker orbs, it also gives him the ability to fly. And this Tenseigan mode actually gave Toneri the ability to cut the moon in half. Long story short, the Tenseigan is as powerful, if not more powerful, than the Rinne Sharingan. So why are we talking about the strengths and feats of the Tenseigan? If only Otsutsukis who slap Hyuga eyeballs into their face can awaken it. And in fact, on Hammer's Collection today, we unboxed a New York Comic-Con exclusive statue. Yeah, that's right. Did I get my hands on an NYCC exclusive statue before Comic-Con even started? Absolutely. Look at this. I usually have to put my feet on the side of the box, but not with this. Nope, just gotta reach my hand in there a little bit. Oh, wait, never mind. Yeah, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Didn't I tell you that the contents of this box are absolutely gorgeous? See, this page has been on a little bit of a one-piece bender because it's basically the only anime I'm watching right now, so obviously we had to get Sabo. Let me tell you right now, this thing is breathtakingly gorgeous in person. This fire under Sabo is incredibly detailed. It's glossy in some points, matte in others. The gradients of red to yellow is breathtaking. But here's the thing, you can get your hands on this statue and many other NYCC exclusive statues if you are going to New York Comic-Con. All you gotta do is go to Bandai Namco's booth at New York Comic-Con, whose stall number is located right here on screen, and then these incredibly rare statues can be yours. Well, I've done videos a long time ago about how somebody in Boruto might awaken to the Tenseigan, and that video was about Himawari. Because in the last Hamura, just like how Hagoromo reached out to Naruto and Sasuke, he reaches out to Hinata, which makes a lot of sense because Hinata is the next heir to the Hyuga family, which are his direct descendants. In much in the same way that Hagoromo gives his chakra to both Sasuke and Naruto, Hamura gives his chakra to Hinata. And then Naruto and Hinata use the power that Hagoromo and Hamura has given them to put the moon back together. Now, while some people believe that Naruto and Hinata exhausted all of the chakra given to them by Hagoromo or Hamura, either in this moment or in the war arc in Naruto's case, I don't necessarily believe that to be the truth. One, because we've seen Naruto tap into Sage of Six Paths mode in Boruto, and two, because Hinata and Naruto having the chakra of Hagoromo and Hamura and then having kids leads to a much more compelling storyline. But in this video titled Himawari Will Awaken the Tenseigan, it was like 11 months ago, you can see it right there, it talks about how both Boruto and Himawari being born with Hamura and Hagoromo's chakra running through their veins basically makes them Otsutsuki enough to awaken a Tenseigan. However, in this video I stated since Himawari was the only person to awaken to the Byakugan, yet she would be the only person who would wake to the Tenseigan. Now, I still believe in this theory because having Hagoromo and Hamura's chakra basically just makes you Kaguya, and she's full-blooded Otsutsuki, so Himawari really should have no excuse for not awakening to the Tenseigan, outside of the fact that Kishimoto refuses to make her a ninja, and also she's a woman, so Kishimoto's not going to give her this crazy power-up. However, I've come to realize while that theory was great, there's a much grander, more possible theory coming down the pipe. See, not only do Himawari and Boruto have the chakra of Hagoromo and Hamura running through their blood, Boruto has been going through something rather important in his story. See, Boruto received a comma marking from Momoshiki after Momoshiki pulled up on the Chunin exams trying to resummon the Ten Tails. But after Momoshiki was defeated by Naruto and Boruto, Momoshiki decided to put a comma marking on Boruto. This is because Momoshiki found Boruto very interesting, specifically the fact that Boruto possessed a Jogan, stating that the Jogan would be troublesome in the future. Now, the theories revolving around the Jogan, that's an entirely different thing. People believe that the Jogan is the base of all dojutsus, and that Otsutsukis, after they eat enough chakra fruits, ascend to something called an Otsutsuki god, where they become covered in Jogan, and therefore the Otsutsuki see the Jogan as the pinnacle of dojutsu. However, that's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is the side effects of having a comma marking. See, having a comma marking is a bit like being a Jinchuriki, except instead of a tailed beast, you have an Otsutsuki inside of you. And sometimes this Otsutsuki can take over your body and do crazy stuff like, oh, I don't know, stab your mentor in the eye. However, just like being a Jinchuriki, having this incredibly powerful entity inside of you allows you to tap into their power. And we've seen this when Momoshiki has taken over Boruto's body. He's produced Rasengans larger than anything Naruto has ever created and deleted members of Kara off the map. But there is a slight difference between having a comma marking and being a Jinchuriki. See, when you're a Jinchuriki, you have to worry about things like your tailed beast taking over your body. This was the case with Shukaku and Gaara, where Gaara couldn't sleep because if he fell asleep, Shukaku would take over. And then Shukaku manifested in his full form would terrorize the hidden sand. The same thing happened when Naruto watched Hinata die. He raged out to an 8 tails form of Kurama and only got saved because, well, plot armor, for being honest. But when you have a comma marking, you don't only have to worry about Momoshiki or Ishiki taking over your body, you have to worry about them quite literally taking over your body. What do I mean by that? See, when a comma marking gets placed on a human, something weird starts to happen. Essentially, the comma marking rewrites the genetic code of said human and slowly Otsutsufies them. That is to say, it slowly makes them an Otsutsuki. But why is this the case? Well, the way that Otsutsukis work is that they travel in pairs. A higher ranking Otsutsuki with a lower ranking Otsutsuki. And Otsutsukis travel from planet to grow god trees to eat the chakra fruit to ascend to the status of an Otsutsuki god. The only problem with this is the only way to grow a god tree is to feed an Otsutsuki to a Ten Tails. And a Ten Tails, upon being fed an Otsutsuki, the lower ranking Otsutsuki in these circumstances, will transform into a god tree, grow roots into the planet, and suck all of the chakra out of said planet. So in order to make sure that we're not just sacrificing lower ranking Otsutsukis left, right, and center, because who would sign up for that gig? The Otsutsukis came up with something called the Karma Mark that allowed Otsutsukis to put a marking on other living beings that would allow them to take over their bodies. However, these are Otsutsukis and they want to be powerful. And as the strongest race of sentient beings in the Naruto universe, they want their strongest DNA with their new host body. And therefore they don't stop at simply taking over the mind of the sentient being they put the Karma marking on. No, they want their strong body back. And thus a comma marking slowly but surely makes the person that's marked with it a perfect vessel for them, in that it makes them an Otsutsuki body that they can capture the mind of, meaning that regardless of how many times they're sacrificed to a Ten Tails, they'll always come back as strong as they were before. And Boruto has had one of these marks for months. He's had the mark for so long that Amato states that Boruto has been 80% Otsutsufied. That is to say that Boruto is now only 20% human, and the same could be said for Kawaki. So canonically, we know Boruto is at least 80% Otsutsuki, and that's ignoring the possibility that he might have Hagoromo and Hamura's chakra inside of him. But more than that, Boruto is a Hyuga who's only awoken to one dojutsu. See, obviously Boruto has the Jogan in one eye, but there's nothing stopping him from having the Byakugan in the other. And I know what you're saying,
Nick, Hyugas are born with the Byakugan. If he was gonna get a Byakugan, he'd already have one.
Except that's not the case anymore. See, Himawari canonically has awoken her Byakugan, but she has blue eyes, meaning that unlike every other Hyuga in history, except for one that we'll talk about in a second, Himawari is able to switch between regular eyes and a Byakugan. And she awoke to this Byakugan unnaturally early. Both Hinata and Neji were trained by the Hyugas in the way of the Byakugan since they were literal children. So they were much more tapped into the Byakugan and its activation than either Boruto or Himawari, who haven't trained in it. This could also be due to the fact that they were born with regular colored eyes, so their Hyuga clansmen might actually have thought that they didn't awaken to the Byakugan in the first place, and thus didn't train them in it. But once again, I can hear you saying,
Nick, Boruto's only half Hyuga. He may not awaken to the Byakugan at all.
And to that I bring up our second example, Mukai Kohinata. See, Mukai Kohinata is from Itachi's second light novel. He's an incredibly powerful Anbu member whose parents split off from the Hyugas a couple generations back. And because his parents split off from the Hyugas a couple of generations back, they were afraid that Mukai, when he was born, wouldn't awaken the Byakugan. However, Mukai did awaken the Byakugan in one eye. So right there in both Himawari and Mukai Kohinata, we have examples that you don't need to have the pale eyes to have a Byakugan in modern day Naruto, and it's entirely canonically possible to awaken to one Byakugan. In fact, Kishimoto himself said that if a user of the Sharingan and a user of the Byakugan had a baby, their child would have one Sharingan and one Byakugan. Now, obviously that isn't the case here, but what I'm driving at is there's technically nothing stopping Boruto from awaking one Byakugan. And if he were to hypothetically awaken to this Byakugan, there's no reason for it not to become a tenseigan, because Boruto would inherently have the Byakugan of a Hyuga. And the clan on the moon didn't have eyes. There was no base set of eyes that you have to blend with your own. They all pulled out their eyes and put it in an energy vessel. So the simple act of placing a Hyuga Byakugan in Toneri's face awoke him to a tenseigan. So the second that Boruto woke to a Hyuga Byakugan in an 80% Otsutsuki body, it is incredibly reasonable to assume that he would awaken to a tenseigan. And once again, that's ignoring the fact that he might have Hagoromo and Hamura's chakra in him. In fact, if Boruto ever does awaken a Byakugan and it doesn't immediately turn into a tenseigan, I'm gonna freak out. And I can hear you yelling,
well, Nick, the 20%.
I don't care about the 20%. 80% is enough. It's how I got through college. And if Boruto were hypothetically to awaken to the tenseigan and we found out the abilities of the Jogan and he used them in conjunction with each other, he would be stronger than Naruto and Sasuke and Momoshiki and Ishiki combined. But what do I know? I'm just a man yelling into the void. If you liked today's Scream, tell me in the comments below. And if you didn't, well, then just like the video, subscribe to the page, and hit the noti bell, because I don't need the negativity. I'm sorry. Listen, I'm not saying that Kishimoto should have me in the writing room. He's doing a bang up job. Everyone has so many good things to say about Boruto.